Aloha! Sorry I'm a hair late today, but it's not really late in Hawaii, so we start a couple minutes late. No big whoop. So I'm gonna cruise around and look at some stuff. Aloha Barbara, how are you? Aloha Renee, how are you doing? We'll cruise around and look at a few things. Aloha Mai, aloha Christine, aloha Elaine. So I'm going to show you the last the last Philly Sunshine. Hey Michelle, how are you? So this one, all the other ones are done now, and this one is the last one I have, and it's maybe got the biggest flowers of any of them. It has really nice big flowers, so I'm gonna probably self this, and because it goes later in the year, maybe I get some more that go later, and if I can, then they might make it to our orchid show that we have in August every year. Aloha Rhonda. So even with the Philly Sunshine, even though all the others have finished, this one is still going, and it's got the huge flower size, so it's got a lot going for it. So we'll keep it going. See, this one, I just cut the spike off of this guy. It's been done basically for a few weeks. We kept stretching it out a little bit. Aloha Rhonda. So we're still in gram season in a way. We have measuring on them going, and so there are still a few grams going off, but I was getting a kick out of it, so I thought I'd bring that one down from the other greenhouse because it's the last one that's going off. And I found 3 more of the Philly Sunshine, so we do still have some of these. So anybody interested, private message me or say you want one. I know a lot of you already have gotten these, and they're $60, and they're big, beautiful plants. And we're going to actually repot one today in the video, so we'll actually learn how to do a little care on them. So I'm going to wander around and just show you a few bits of eye candy before we get into the video some more. This is a frag here, and we've been trying to identify it, and I've been trying to breed it. And I don't know if Dr. Bill's watching or not, but I did all these careful things, cut the pouch out so I could get in there with toothpicks, got myself some room, and I made a rookie mistake. I did this right where it sits now, and a tip for pollinating is put them on a counter or a table, because when the pollen drops, then you can recover it. And in a case like this where it dropped, it went down into the cracks and I couldn't recover it. So just a tip. And I know better, and I still did it myself, so that's just the way it goes sometimes. And yeah, so this one we cross back to the father, Marte. So we'll have a lot of grams coming up. I have some other babies that they're almost to a point where they're being able to be potted up and selling them. So future's looking good for different types of grams. This one here, this is the Philly Sunray, and you can see it's got some of the parentage from the mother plant, which is this one. And this is Mesrianum, and I think I actually have these. I think these are the ones that I have in the that I just deflasked a few months ago. So hopefully we'll have more of these, because I think I'll have those available, and everybody wants that one too. So I'm sure hoping it is that one. They're all beautiful, but aloha Ginger, how are you? Hey Jay, how you doing, cuz? And this is This is Sassica by Laurentii, and it's fragrant. And we will have these available. This one's going to the show, so anything that doesn't go to the show will be available maybe next week. We're gonna, I think it's next weekend. Yeah, we'll be doing a live from the show, so you'll be able to see stuff there. And also, when we do that live, let me know if you see stuff you want. I have strong relationships with all the growers there. So if there's anything you want, let me know and I'll track them down and see if I can't get either divisions or plants of some of the stuff you'll see in that show. We're into Trichoglottis here. Hariana looks really good as far as seed pods go. So we're getting, at this stage, when they get this developed, you're pretty confident it'll take. Hi McCoy, how are you? And really excited. I got this guy, may or may not make the show. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, at the show there, I mean, it's kind of fun because that happened last year at the show. I did a real quick live, and a bunch of people, and I didn't have that many people, watching all the lives and stuff. So there was things on there, and ended up able to get some stuff. So, it was actually the spring show. So this is a summer show. It'll be a bunch of different things. Hey Doug, how you doing? This guy, I gotta get some pollen on this one. This is Adisac Blue, but it'll time out beautiful for the show. So I think unless something disastrous happens in the way of any kind of transportation error or something, that'll probably be the best Vanda at least. And it's gonna open up in time perfectly. This one I'm hoping will last, not for sure. And probably the other competition for best Vanda is this guy, if he lasts. I'm really happy with it. So we'll see how it goes. We're hoping that everybody, all these last, and I usually bring the most Vandas of anybody. You bring the most, you get more chances to win ribbons that way. And this Pinky may not time out. They love this thing there though. When they smell this, they all want divisions of it. So I'm kind of hoping it'll last. But and we set pod on that too. So Sarah came over, Sarah Wolf, and she was here yesterday, and she helped me pollinate these. So we put a fragrant with a fragrant. So we put Mishima lime with that, and so it could be very, very fragrant plus beautiful, beautiful orchid as well. And for any of you watching, I would encourage, if you can share this with your friends and family, relatives, other groups. It's always appreciated. And if you need to look up anything as far as what we have on our price list, it's at our website on www.orchidalleyKauai.com. And you go to the page and you look on the lower right, and it's going to be in fine print. So it'll say orchid list or orchid plants for sale, something like that. And it's under the need help in the contact area, and the text looks like it's way too small to be clickable. Well, you click on it and boom, you get the list. And most of the stuff we're showing you today is on the list, and if it's not, just PM me. Almost everything here is available in a division, and if not available in a plant. Hi Sarah, how are you? So we're gonna wander around a little bit, let a few more people get caught up and get on. We're having some effects from was a Hurricane Eric, and now it's a tropical storm, but it's broken up. But there's little pockets of moisture, and so the humidity's super high, and I've heard some thunder and lightning in the background. So hopefully we get through. There's a flash flood warning, so we're not getting any rain yet, but it could get kind of nasty. So, and that could mean a power outage. So if we do lose you guys, I'll try to get back on, but I'm just kind of forewarning you that the weather is a little bit funky. This Tobiance is starting to open. Aloha, Mary Beck. So I'll show you something that's been opening, and we caught them at a good time this time. So what you're looking at here is the Bulbophyllum echinolabium, and I posted a few shots of it because it's kind of uncorkscrewing. This whole thing is all looped together in one. It's kind of looped like that in one big spiral, and then it sort of untwists itself, and finally the top breaks open, and we actually gave it a little assist yesterday. Thank you, Barbara. So we gave it a little assist yesterday, but this thing is incredible. 15 inches long, and the first flower is 15 and a half, and this one's just a hair under 15, although it may lengthen out a little bit because it just fully opened yesterday. So I wanted to let you guys take a look at this guy. We do have a few of these. They are most of them now are near blooming size. The biggest ones are mostly gone, or if there are, they're going to be kind of special, pricier ones. Aloha Soul, thank you. And we did a little hybridizing yesterday while Sarah was here. Besides the Vandas, we also did some Bulbophyllum crosses. So we took Deary, and we put it with something very similar to Wilbur Chang, but not Wilbur Chang. Paula Wentz. Aloha, Jeannie. Is it Jenny, or how would you say that? I should know by now, but Jenny or Jeannie? Jenny. I think it's Jenny. And I probably said Jeannie. I'm probably in trouble. But it should be a beautiful cross. So this guy, with the very, very strong yellows of this, and I'm kind of excited to see what that'll look like. Jenny, yes, okay. I'll get it, I promised. And this is Carunculatum, and this one's kind of folding over because he's been pollinated. And we have a couple of those, not too many of those. That's a cool big species. So these big Bulbophyllum species, people really wanted these, so we're getting less and less and less of these. And I have some smaller ones, but all the bigger sizable ones are getting snagged up. So I may have one or two of those. And I got a couple Wilbur Changs, but those are going as well. And the Wilbur Chang, these are actually Wilbur Changs because they came from Wilbur Chang. He actually hybridized it. Aloha, Sarah. Long time no see. I'm showing, so Sarah is on Kauai, and she's probably wondering what the heck's the weather gonna do. But she's on Kauai. She was here yesterday, and she helped me hybridize these. So this is that Paula Wentz. It wasn't quite fully open yesterday, But this is the one that we did our pollinating with. So we took that and put it on Deary Eye, and then we put it on Carunculatum, and then we put Deary Eye back to that. So those should be some neat crosses. Oh, sorry about that. I had a call come in and I wasn't sure how to get rid of it. So if we momentarily, I missed aloha Tatiana, Mike. And yeah, so Sarah's in Kauai. I think she's on the south side. And the breeze is gone. No, I'm sweating. It was hot yesterday. I think it's even worse today. So that's what happens when you get hurricanes cruising around you. They hold so much moisture, and it's tropical moisture. So it's stuff that's usually coming from areas where the waters are like 85 degrees, 90 degrees, and then they get thrown up into these hurricanes and the tropical storms and tropical depressions. And then when the rain hits you, so we're feeling no winds, but when the rain hits you, it's muggy, sticky stuff because it's from waters that are in the 85 degree range. Yeah, so Sarah's in Poipu. So it's usually sunnier and hotter there. So her chances of good weather are better than on this side over here. We're on the east side and she's on the south side. But when you have that big of a storm around, you can get yucky weather everywhere. So I'm walking around just kind of showing people, and then anybody who can share this and anybody who wants to let other folks know, we'll wait for a couple more people to come on, and then I'm going to start my demonstration. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a division of a plant that Sarah bought. Sarah doesn't know this, but she bought a division, so I figured might as well do the division live. So she got this guy right here, half of this, and this is Bulbophyllum trigonicipalum, and so she has one half of that, and the other half is going to be for sale. And it's here's one I did before, but you can see they have pretty big pseudobulbs, and they're kind of cool growers. I like the way they look and their shapes. So yeah, Sarah, I asked if you wanted to be on the live today. She said no, they had family commitments, but I'm putting you on anyways. So you're here in spirit. And then later today we're gonna up pot this gram, and a lot of people have questions with the grams as far as culture, what kind of pots, baskets. So we'll go ahead and up pot that into clay, and we'll do that on camera, and you guys can ask all the questions, and we'll do that in just a minute here. I'm just trying to wait and see if a few more folks want to come on. Aloha Bianca. Yeah, the grams are huge. So this one's Phaley Sunshine, and you can see the pseudobulbs big. So I'll probably have to wrestle with this a little bit. So I have a fan on me, but when you're dealing with plants that size, they get stuck into the pots pretty good. So you might hear me grunt and groan a little bit trying to get that guy free. But they're beautiful. Good to have you on, Bianca. Hi, Phyllis. Aloha from Washington. Yes. Yeah, we had last week someone from Malaysia and the Philippines. So we've been getting quite a few people from all over the place, which is fun, and it's interesting to see there's orchid nuts everywhere. That's the one thing I'm finding. It's not just us. Minnesota, aloha Anita. Yeah, there's just orchid nuts everywhere, and it's nice to find people with a passion similar to mine. So yeah, I'm glad we're getting people. Wrestling is frustrating, but rewarding to know it's such a happy, healthy plant. Yeah, it is, and it's kind of fun, and it just, I always put these big bad boys off, and so it's kind of cool doing these lives because I'm forcing myself to take on some of the hardest ones to divide. So in fact, I did this one. I was considering doing this on the live, but I did this one earlier today, and this came off a plant that was too heavy to carry down here from the other greenhouse. So but it's a cymbidium, and this is a species cymbidium. It's a Chinese or Asian one, and these are warm growing, so they don't want that cold snap that the ones in California want. So I have now about 10 or 12 divisions. This is Cymbidium dianum, and so I have 10 or 12 of these available now. You can see over here where I just pulled them out, but they're all beautiful, beautiful plants, and they're all spiking. So I was gonna maybe do those, but I figured out it'd be easier to do the gram. This was already a wrestling match earlier in the morning for me. Aloha Denya. There we go, from the Philippines. Now we got some distance going. I'm glad you could make it. Where in the Philippines are you from? Yeah, you didn't see this one yesterday, did you? Sarah was here yesterday. This was in the upper greenhouse, and these are 35, and I have these, and I have the Finlaysonianum, and they get pretty big, but I like them. They have like a very grass-like habit, and then they hang pendant. So what is this one? So they really make a nice presentation, and some of these will time out good for my show, which is really nice. So yeah, this is kind of a cool plant, and the reason I hadn't really brought it out before was it's in a pot that's about 2 feet, and it had about 30 of these different divisible areas with probably 30 spikes on it, but it was too heavy to carry anywhere, and it was kind of hidden in the back, and I just kind of uncovered it. So if you're interested, Sarah, let me know. We can definitely add that to your box. She's got one going off in 2 weeks, and I can try to get you one that's opening later, so that you'll get one in flower. That should work. And what other? We got. This is the Brassia. This is Memoria Edvalou, and this is my favorite Brassia. The flowers are so long and beautiful, and we have a couple of these available. Not too many. I think at least 2. I see another one over here. So we have a division of this one. Yeah, Sarah's saying in spike would be amazing, but I know that's difficult in the hands of the shipping company. Not with Phaley. Phaley can pack anything, and so that's her super expertise. So Phaley, and then she has. I should also mention Hope has been helping her, and Phaley's been teaching Hope all of her tricks in the packing. So even these Brassias, we'll get them there in full bloom. They're not easy, but we can do it. Yeah, Phaley's good at that. And then this is another one here that's going off right now, and this is the Dendrobium linguineale, I guess, yeah. And So that's just cute, very cute presentation. It was fun having you here, Sarah, because that was it gave me a chance to roam around and cruise around, and yeah. And Bianca's asking, are we doing boxes now? Um, yeah, Bianca, we can do an open box. We can hold it for 2 to 3 weeks. We're running out of room, so I can't really hold them super long. So I can invoice you. You can pay as we go, and so you can start an open box, and in the next 2 to 3 weeks, if we can complete it and ship it out, we can do up to, usually 10 plants in a box. It's a $30 fee for UPS, and it kind of depends. If we're looking at a bunch of these and grammatophyllum, it may stretch the box limits more, but we just use bigger boxes, and it's still one flat rate. So we don't differentiate on the size of the box. Unless we got to go to 2 boxes, then we do have to charge more. So Sarah's saying, got a pic of the huge one at the upper greenhouse, but I figured that was out of my league. Well, a lot of these are out of everybody's league unless we divide them, and that's what I'm trying to do, is get divisions of everything. There's the Finlaysonianum too, which when I wander down the other part of the greenhouse, I'll try and show you that one. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? This dendrobium is so... It looks like, the Japanese cherry blossoms. It's a cool one. We have these. They're divisions. They're 25. In fact, this one is a keiki here. You can see it's got buds coming. So we have those available if people want them as well. Aloha, Kristen. So I'll do a walk around tour again in a little while here, but I figure I might as well start my presentation on the dividing and a couple of these guys. We'll also talk about vandiculture. So these guys here, they're very happy, and we do have quite a few vandas here. So I have been kind of putting that off until I had more stuff blooming, so I guess it's blooming now. 42 pseudobulbs. That's fantastic. That is fantastic. That would be show worthy. Okay, so I want to make sure I got to get up one pot. So I'll cruise over here and get my pot and get set up. In the meantime, we can look at a few other goodies on the way. This is Finlaysonianum here, so this is one I'm dividing up, and it has spikes that are pendant as well, and they go 3 or 4 feet long. You can see one right there. So that's another one if you guys want. It's available, same price. And I have one other one that's one of those pendant cymbidiums. So yeah, the vandas, I have favorites, and I keep saying this is my favorite, this is my favorite, and well, vandas are my favorite, but not until when the grammatophyllums are blooming. They're my favorite, and then this one's my favorite because this one smells so good. So I don't truly, and this guy is everybody's favorite, and in a week this will be everybody's favorite. So yeah, the vandas are kind of special, and we'll get into them for a minute. What I wanted to do is grab my grammatophyllum pot here. So I sprayed bleach in this, and I'm going to use it when we up pot over here. So I wanted to kind of get ready while I get my tripod set up so that I don't have to abandon you and go find stuff. So getting my ducks in a row here. And I don't know if anybody saw these. We're doing a special on these too. We're doing these along with Zygos. And I forget what the other one was, but they're normally 30 each, and you end up, I think it was 4 for 110. PM, yeah, I'll look at the post again, but you can't go wrong with these. This is just so much color, and these are all premium plants, 2 or 3 canes with at least 15 flowers each. So now that dark purple Vanda, that's an interesting one. That actually is Adisac Blue, and that is I think a sibling of the World Orchid Conference champion in 2011, I guess. So I'm trying like crazy to get that thing sib crossed. I got 2 of them, but so in the future we'll have that available, but don't get your heart set on that one right now. Now we do have purples and blues. We have all kinds of cool Vandas, so that's not an issue. And oh, here's a lepidum just getting ready to open. And these are the bulbophyllums, and this is all part of that $95 bulbophyllum package, beginning one, where you get 5 of them for $95, which is a good deal. What was that one? Okay, the dark purple, but yeah, okay, that was the Adisac Blue, yeah. So I'm gonna set up over here. I think. I'm going to try and set up over here. Okay, we're getting close. Thank you, Bianca. Okay, so this is me, and I'm in my little workstation here, and I want to kind of start with the easy one, which is going to be this bulbophyllum, and this is Trigonocephalum, and this is half of this plant was purchased by Sarah. And so I'm going to divide it, and let me get my water. So I want to shoot the plant with water to start with, kind of get the roots loose. And you can do it different settings, kind of accomplish different things. This center setting kind of blasts debris away. If you just want to get it wet, you put it on shower. Jet is probably too strong to use. And so now I have this guy wet. And what I like to do, in a case like this where it's grown out of the pot, and I know I saw on Maui Orchid Whispering somebody was having issues with their bulbophyllum, and 9 times out of 10, any issues with these is going to be rotting media. It's not that these things can't take water, they can, and so you definitely want to keep the water on these guys, but the media will decompose after a while, and that's, I think, what was going on with that one, and that's what's going on with this one. So the media in the pot in here is decomposing, and the bulbul film saying, heck with that, I'm going over here, because I got nice air over here, and I got this plastic I can grab onto. But it's not, and there's nothing wrong with that. It probably would grow perfectly fine this way, but it doesn't meet the human aesthetic standards of being in a pot. So, and you still want to get rid of the media anyways, because it's decomposing. So I always work from the back of the plant, so I'm not even getting anywhere near those new leads at this point. In fact, I want to cut off anything that distracts me, like a label like that. Just get it out of your way. And I'm going to do the same with this. You don't want to lose that, because that tells you your name, but now it's not in my way, not in my line of sight, because you actually have to be kind of careful. I'm going to even take it one step further. I'm going to take the wire off, because the wire is so close to that new lead. I don't know if you can see it, but that new lead and the wire are so close to each other that I think it's going to be safer to just take the wire off. And this is where you got to pay attention. You really, I'm pushing, but I'm pushing away from that new lead, because the new lead is fragile. They're very sturdy plants, but when they have a new lead, it's fragile. Okay, voila. Okay, so we got this guy out of our way. Now I can work with just the media. Now watch, at the end of this, and this has happened before, I'll probably knock a new lead off and have to give Sarah a different plant. So Bianca's asking, is that what bulbos are mounted on commonly? Bulbos, okay, oh, and the spelling of this is, you're asking what type this is. And this is the bulbophyllum trigonissa falum. And let me get you, I smudged up the name. Trigo, Trigo, Nosepalum. Trigonissa palum. And yeah, look that up, and you'll see it's pretty cool. And going back to the question of what are they normally potted in, I like them in 3 different ways. I like them mounted on cork and hapu. I like them in a net basket with bark, but the bark will decompose, and in a net basket in sphagnum. So here's one. And this is how they come with in the little bulbophyllum, the beginner's package. And so anybody contemplating bulbophyllums, this is a good way to start. They're not they don't have any bad fragrance. These types, they're easy to grow, and they have beautiful flowers. And it's a good way to get your feet wet if you're thinking about bulbophyllums and you just haven't figured out where do I start with them. That little bulbophyllum beginner's package, it's $55 for 5 plants. That's a good way to go. So catch up with some of these. Hey Francis, how are you? Well, you have 2 leads at least. Is the bulbils okay? So they do well mounted, but you got to keep these really wet. So Bianca's afraid of bulbils. All of mine are stinky. Well, they aren't all stinky, and that's why that beginner's package is good, because those aren't stinky. There's a lot of them that aren't, and there are some that are, and some are worse than others. So the other thing I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to cut around. I'm going to cut the pot off of this because it's not really giving up that easy, and I don't want to risk the new leads. So when you're in doubt, if you can get it out, just cut the pot. It's not that expensive of an item, and the plant is worth way more than the pot. And I would probably end up breaking something. Now the other thing to look at when you do these is you'll often find the roots crawling around the inside of the lip. So try to break those free. So when you do cut the pot, you're trying to not cut any more roots than you have to. So I'll do this pot in a couple little sections to see if I can get it. In the back of this plant, I'm not worried about cutting because this is pretty much dead roots. But it's all kind of attached together, and since there are these new leads, I'm being extra careful. And I'm trying to free up these roots in here. And they're almost complying. So now I can get the back part of the pot off. Hey Ryan, how you doing? And I'm going to be dealing with a lot of dead stuff. So the media in here, this media was actually it was Maiden well, which is almost like a chalk-like media, and it doesn't decompose, so it's not the problem. But the bark that it's mixed with is decomposing now. Now it's great media. It probably lasted 3 years super well, but I waited 6 years, so now it's rotting. And so this is your problem 90% of the time when you have plants starting to fail. If you're watering it correctly and you have correct lighting, it's usually going to be your media. So if you can, and I go from the back of the plant, I'm working my way forward, and I'm breaking loose the media. I'm trying to see if there's comments as I go. Now I'm actually just grabbing the dead media and pulling it out. That was the old dead pseudobulb with a bunch of roots on it. And so you notice I haven't even touched the new part of the plant yet. None of the new leaves, nothing. I'm only working on the back part of the plant, trying to expose it. Now I'm going to give it a shot of water now. See, again, all old. And this isn't doing any good. It's just keeping rotting material near the plant. And in this case, the plant's growing fine on the outside, but it didn't have the option to go back into the pot because that media was no good. So I'm going to give it a dose of water. So the question was, what's the correct lighting on these? And these are low light. These are kind of like Phalaenopsis light. I would say in between Phalaenopsis and Oncidium. You don't want to give them too much light. You can acclimate them maybe, but I found they kind of want to be in the bottom 1/3 of my greenhouse canopy. So I might have paps and phals down here, bulbos. I don't know if you can see them in here, but they're kind of hanging mid-level, and then shielding above that might be, I don't have Cattleyas in here, but it could be Cattleyas or Oncidiums, and then above that you'd have the Grammatophyllums or Grammatophyllums and the Vandas as the top protection layer. So these are pretty low light, which makes them easy to grow. The biggest thing is they love water. So all that water can make the media rot quicker. So sphagnum is a good way to go. And I'm pulling out all of this. Now when you cut, you want to sterilize. So I'm going to put this guy down for a sec. Make sure your shears are sterilized always. And I'm going to cut off some of the old back. There's a back bulb here. I'm going to cut it off. And I'll probably take off some of these roots. In this case, those roots are so fine, they'll cut easier with scissors. I gotta find a new source for these. These used to be, hey Bill, how you doing? Allison, how are you? I gotta catch up on a couple of comments maybe. Okay. Joe, aloha. And Allison and Bill. Okay, cool. So we're actually dividing a plant. Sarah Wolf came and visited yesterday, so she got a bowl film. So right now, see where I'm holding this? I still have not touched any of the new leads, and that's my whole goal, is to get through this and not look stupid and break the new lead last minute. But it's hard to do because they're a little tricky. So I'm trying to get I'm just cutting the net pot out because it's not worth trying to save it at the expense of losing the plant. Now I'm gonna cut all these off in a second here, but right now it's giving me something good to grab onto. And what I want to try to do is get one more good cut. Now I'm twisting, I'm grabbing the pseudobulb, which is strong, staying away from that new lead, and twisting this up. I'm trying to get the roots out from underneath the lip of this. And if you did cut those, it's not the end of the world, but I figure since Sarah's watching, I better take ultimate care. This is a division she bought, so 1/2 of this is for sale and 1/2 of this is Sarah's, and she's going to get the nicer of the two because that's the way it works. And it's just almost there, so I'm going to use my shears to try to slide the root out and then cut. And sometimes you end up leaving a little bit of the basket with it because it's just not worth trying to get the basket out. And it'll get buried in the new growth anyways, so okay, so we're getting somewhere now. Now I'm going to start looking at where would I want to divide this, and I kind of push and pull on it a little bit. Aloha Alexis, aloha Shirley. Yeah, so I'm looking at where is the natural dividing point. Sometimes you just pull on them and you'll find they'll just pull apart. I think I found where I want this one to be. So I'm going to cut between it. And this one's tricky because it's really in this pot. And the bulbs don't go straight. They go in a circular, or it's kind of a serpentine pattern. So this one is actually, I'll show you, the natural division point. You want to say, I'll do it right in half right there, but you see this bulb is really attached to those, and this one is attached to those. So I'm actually going to divide it. Okay, if you can see, okay, I'm going to actually divide it diagonally like this, because that's the break point. So this, and that are all one, and this is already growing as two separate plants, so that's what makes this kind of nice to divide. So I'm going to actually do a diagonal division on this. And I hope you can see okay, because I'm really having to focus on what I'm doing more so than whether or not it's on camera. Okay, so you can see how I'm starting to work the two apart, and you use your fingers, you give it a little tug, kind of like if you have a child and they have thorns in their hair or mat in their hair, you kind of work at it a little bit. It's a similar process. A little tug here, a little push there, knead it out. Now I'm trying to separate this one from that. Now we're getting into some of the moments of truth. I probably can get this off of there. And I think Sarah's will be the one on the left because it has more pseudobulbs. But they both have new leads, so that's good. Voila. So it took a little while. Hey Jason buddy, how you doing? All right, so now you can have either one you want, Sarah, but the other one has a little more. This one has a bigger new lead. Let me wash them off and we can look at it. So this one has a bigger new lead. There. And this one, I still have to get some debris off of it. This one has more back bulbs, and I think that just gives it more strength if I can separate it all. This one bulb here is going to give me a nightmare because it's on the other side. Jealous of me too. Beverly, aloha. Well, now everybody can come out here. In fact, when we're all done with this, I want to talk to you guys about an idea I had. I want to see if people would be interested in having a dude. You know how they have dude ranches for cowboys? What if we do an Orchid dude ranch, where people come out here and they get to help me in the greenhouses, get instruction on flasking, repotting, all different care. Coffee in the mornings, we walk around and we discuss all the orchids. And we have a little wing of the house, a unit that people can stay in with a little kitchenette. And so it would be something where people could come out here, they get instruction, and you're in a place, and I'm going to let Sarah speak for this. How beautiful is it here, Sarah? Are you enjoying your time here, Sarah? I know you are. Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, what would be more better to have? We can have people come stay, but if they come stay and they're orchid lovers and they're paying for instruction versus paying for a unit, then I think we comply with our local codes, and I think that would be a great thing to do. And then I can also take you and show you some of the other facilities around. In fact, the one I wanted to mention to Sarah while she's still here is she gets a chance to go up to the Hindu temple. And at the Hindu temple, they are hand building it with uh, with basically copper and bronze tools, and it's all being hand done by a troupe of people they import from India. And around there's 40 acres of the most beautiful land in Kauai, and the Swami is a lover of grammatophyllum, so he has planted mostly our grammatophyllums all over the property, and you'll see them in a natural state. So look that up. They only have tours certain times, but you can go. There's a self-guided tour that I think you can go on every day, but there's a tour where the Swami leads it, and I don't know, that may book up in advance. But it's the Hindu temple in Kauai, and you'll get to see a lot of our grammatophyllums in a natural setting. So what I think I'll do is I'll kind of, if people are interested in the Dude Ranch, I'll put together pricing for that and kind of a schedule of what I think. I don't want, and you want to have free days. I can't imagine anybody coming to Kauai and doing nothing but orchids with Neil. As much as that sounds kind of tempting, no. I think you gotta go see the island. So you might have like an every other day class, something like that, or mornings with me with the coffee and the orchids. And then go do your activities. So it's something I think that would be fun for everybody. And if we have time at the end of this, I may actually try to go down and do the live from that unit down there. But I don't know if the reception goes all the way down there. So it could be. It could be I can't, but I can post some pictures and videos. And you guys could see there's 2 units, so you guys could actually book 1 unit each, like a family or a couple. And so you would have other orchid nuts to spend time with too, besides just me. So anyways, this is an idea I've had, and I was trying to figure out how can we do this where it's not technically, so we'd be paying for the service, but the service would include the board in our place. So I think that would be a good way to do it. Aloha, Cecile. Okay, I'm getting caught up. Mike Solomon, Amber and I are seriously going to have to check that out. Okay, good. Yeah, I think it would be fun. And Sarah, any questions you can ask Sarah because she's been in it, so she's seen it, and I bounced the idea off of her yesterday, and I think she thought it was a good idea. Yeah, and so she's mentioning Allerton Gardens, which is a world-class, it's a national tropical botanical garden, and they have 2 sections. Allerton, which was built in the 30s with Chase Manhattan money, and there's some really interesting stories about that place. Jackie O stayed there after, or Jackie Kennedy stayed there after John Kennedy was killed, and they were famous for outlandish parties, and so they built these great gardens. And then in the upper part of the gardens, there's McBride Gardens, which has a biodiversity trail. And so we were contracted to put 10 large driftwood pieces, and we got to fill them with orchids and put in fogging systems. So I don't know how much of that they maintain. I heard they didn't maintain it that well, but we had waterfalls in there. But it was really nice. I'll have to post those pictures because when I first did it, it was so beautiful. I just don't know. They didn't pay for maintenance. I'm trying to scroll while I'm looking at this. So I think, Sarah, this is your best bet here. So let me know. You can have your choice of either of the 2. Cool. Aloha, Mary Beth. Michelle Keegan. Aloha, Michelle. How have you been? We've missed you. So cool. Well, Ryan's busy working. Okay, Sarah. All right, cool. Aloha, aloha. Okay, I'm gonna catch a couple of these, and I'm gonna go on to the bigger plant. I'll be on Maui at the end of the month. Was thinking of flying over for a day. Yes, Cecile, you would love it. And yeah, you, I'll, we'll, we'll, if we could actually probably pick you up and bring you here and then show you some cool stuff. You got to see Kauai. You really ideally want a week, but a day is better than nothing. And Kauai is beautiful. It's called the Garden Island, and it's one of the more lusher islands. And of course, they're all gorgeous. Maui's gorgeous. It has a lot of diversification. Hi, Tatiana. Good. Well, good. I'm glad. It's something I've been thinking about for a while, and it's like, and it was good to be able to show somebody from this orchid nut community to see if they thought it was a good idea too. Okay, I'm getting caught up with all of these. Barbara's watching. Aloha. Renee's watching. Where do you go, Renee? You, you pop out, you pop back in. Just curious, being nosy. I'd love to see the pics of when you all did that. Yeah, okay. I will. So just remind me, the NTBG project. It is really cool. Yeah. Well, good to hear that, Michelle. Yeah, if you can spend more, that's fine. But again, one day is better than nothing. And get a rental car and drive up the canyon. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. And so there's the biggest things on the island to see are it's like a giant horseshoe. So one end of the island is the canyon. It's called the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. And that's what Sarah was talking about. And the other end is basically Lahaina, and it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. And there are about 3.5 hours away from each other, and then we're smack dab in the middle. So when you're staying with us, you can get to any place easy, which is nice. Oh, okay. I'm just teasing you, Renee. So yeah, Kauai is special, and and all the islands are special. Maui is gorgeous. Upcountry where Alexis is just incredible. I don't know where their fires have been recently, and then you got 7 pools up there. Oahu was beautiful 30 or 40, 50 years ago. It's got a lot of people now, but there are places in Oahu that are gorgeous. Molokai is incredible. And I like the Big Island a lot too. I go there a lot. I have a lot of friends who grow orchids there. I have a lot of connections there. So it reminds me the most of Kauai, the Hilo side. So all the islands that we're seeing, don't ever say I've been to one and I've seen them all, because none of them are the same. That's one of the great things about it. Cecile's going to Haiku. Okay. Haiku is, yeah, that's down the hill there. That's in the saddle, I think, yeah. Tatiana's back. Well, I think Alexis is bottom of upcountry. I think if she's still watching, she can tell. But I think Haiku is probably 45 minutes from where Alexis is, I'm guessing. Aloha, Christopher. Oh, good. Yes, the chocolate orchids are so nice, and they bloom and bloom and bloom. Are you close to where they are protesting? All the different local people are protesting, and I'm not going to politically even say anything. I don't understand the whole process, so I don't know. I can't say whether I'm in agreement or not, but there is definitely an uproar going on, and I like science, and so I do see the needs for telescopes and those kind of things. So, but I don't know if it's something that's, I just don't know. So it might be that it's sacred ground or something, and they have valid points. So I'm not going to comment on that. but other than they are protesting on all the islands as far as I know, but probably more so on Maui for sure. Alexis might know more because that's a Maui where they want to put it's Maui, or is it or no? It might be the Big Island. The Maui and the Big Island have the big mountains. We have ours tops out at a little over 5,000 feet. Maui is over 10,000, and the Big Island is 10 or 12. Yeah, so it's kind of it's interesting. Hawaii is one of those special places. Almost everybody that comes here asks themselves if there's any way they could live here, because you have so many different neat things. You have beauty, you have the waves, the ocean, the weather. Aloha spirit is the people are so nice. So yeah, it's a special place. So anybody. This could be an opportunity for people to see that and get an orchid fix all at the same time. So, and definitely Alexis can give you the same. I don't know if they have a facility to stay at, but they can certainly, I'm sure, give you a great tour of up there. In fact, I want to go visit her one of these days too. Anyway, it's been a little while since I've been to Maui. We used to get Miltoniopsis from Ivan Komoda. He was right up the road from where she was, and we actually stopped at the garden center there, and it was closed on the way up to the mountain. I forget the name. And my wife left one of her flip-flops at the entrance to the garden center there, and we came back the next day, and somebody had politely hung it on the fence, and she grabbed it and had her and these were like fancy flip-flops because she was a mainland girl at the time. This was 25 years ago, so I think it was before Alexis was there. But anyways, so I was there, and if they were there then, I almost met them, but I haven't met them personally. Hey Bruce, how you doing? So we've been kind of chit-chatting, and I hope that it's not boring people, but I'm just kind of relaying some thoughts about the islands, and people were a little off topic a little bit, but so what? You know, it's fun to chit chat, and you get to know people in a different light. Yeah, so it's a complex issue, and so I would read up on it and then make your own judgments on it. But to the people that are protesting, they're very passionate about it, so they definitely. Yeah, they definitely do. You're not going to the Big Island. Okay. Well, fly over to Kauai. I think that's a great idea. Hey, Jennifer. How are you? Yeah, I don't think it's a telescope. There already are telescopes up there, so it's not. I don't think it's a view plane issue, and that when you're looking up, they're miles away. But I think it's more of a sacred ground issue, and that I'm definitely not an expert. And it's best to leave the Hawaiian issues to true Hawaiians because they have their own insight on it, and so those are usually things to not discuss with other people because they, you know, you look at, oops, now I did it. you look at those kind of issues, and our eyes are different than theirs. They grew up here. Their heritage is here, so they look at it through that perspective, where we don't have that same perspective. So I don't like to make judgments on any of that kind of stuff. I don't know. Yeah. James, yeah. Shirley, yeah, you should come. Everybody should come. So that this idea of a Orchid Dude Ranch, this might be the way to do it. Yeah, and we found our people, and I even I did a little Facebook seminar, and I was one of the panelists on Kauai, and so I was kind of representing people who are expanding their businesses through live video. And I told the people, I said, you know, it's really been great. I found my people. Well, I looked later in their literature, and that's why I couldn't see why the Facebook guys were all clapping and so, you know, happy. Well, that's one of their taglines: find your people. So I kind of did them a promotion without even knowing it. But but I do truly feel that way. That, you know, there's, for so many years you're on a little island and there's only 10 or 15 people that know what a pseudobulb is, or what a grammatophyllum is, and, you know, maybe 150, you know, and so you're really kind of limited in your outreach. So with the internet, you know, I'm finding that there's orchid nuts all over the world. Some watching right now from the Philippines, and so it's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we've diversed ourselves, I'm going to do a repotting of a grammatophyllum. And show you this. Isn't that cool? Bet you nobody can guess what this is. Jason, are you watching? Any guesses? Oh God, I got a bunch of comments. Okay, so Mauna Kea, that was it. Yeah. And I'm pretty bad with names. Yeah, that is a nice vanda. Thank you. Yeah, it is good to chit chat. You know, it's not all orchids. It just usually is orchids. All right, Michelle, I love it. Okay, no, this is actually not an orchid. And this is, I'll tell you in a minute here, grapes. That's good. It's kind of rare. There's a white form of this that's more common that I don't want to go run out and grab it, but it's called a pearl anthurium. And this one is the blue, the Cerealia version. So the white one, we use it in weddings sometimes, and we have that available. I've probably showed that to you before, but they're just opening now, so the white ones are kind of like little nubs like this, and you can't really see the pearls on them yet. This one you can see the pearls, so it's a blue. This variety is rare because it's blue. And yeah, we'll have little divisions of those, so that is something we sell. Not too many, probably I can probably get about 5 or 6, and they'll probably be $20 out of those. But the anthuriums grow pretty much like the bulbophyllums. Well, thank you. Now this is a Phailey Sunshine. This one just finished blooming. We just cut the spikes. It was a 2-spiker, and so I'm looking at this as a good time to repot it. Yeah, we can grow those from seeds. They grow from the pearls themselves. So yeah, if you get a plant, then when it flowers, you can grow the seeds from it. No problem, Cecile. Yeah, so now what I'm going to do with this guy is, again, the same thing as with the bulbophyllum. I have a big new lead here, and I have another new lead on this side, and so that's what I got to be careful of. I've got a big handle right here. This is rock hard. Big pseudobulbs, no worries with those. So I'm going to use that for my leverage, and I'm going to try to wiggle this out of here. And I don't know how well it'll work. I can push a little from below, but the fact that it's going through the sides here, so that's why I wanted to do this now, if I waited another 6 months or so, this probably would have just overgrown it, and I'd never get the clay pot out without breaking it. And that's still an option to break it. You got it, Barbara. All right, we got you, Ryan. So, I don't know if you can hear, I'm hearing a couple little crackaroos, and that's all that is the roots that are stuck to the clay pot. I appreciate it, Sarah. I actually thought you weren't even going to be able to tune in, but I loved having you. And yeah, and if you don't mind, just let people know about that the unit, because you were in it and you saw it, and I think they'd respect your opinion on that too. Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm hearing a couple snaps. And again, I'm watching where these new leads are, because that's what I want to not break. And it's coming, slowly but surely. Sorry, Shirley. I'm sure you've heard that joke before, and it was not intentional. Okay, now we got it. So, Bill, this is why I like clay pots. If this was plastic, it would have just pulled out. But you can see these things love it. They're grabbing onto it. They think it's a tree. They think it's a rock that they're growing on. This one has air holes in the side of it, which is good. The other one won't, but I'll show you a trick I'm going to do to get it more air. So, now you see this guy here. And also, this was an old pseudobulb that kind of had rotted out. And you'll see this often. So if you get one that rots, cut it out. But it'll leave a hole in there. That'll eventually get covered up with these roots. And I don't know if you can, how well you can see into this. Thomas does that all the time. I'm used to. So in here, I can feel what was originally a clay pot in there. I don't know if you can see it at all, but I can feel it. Or not a clay pot, it was a plastic pot, a net pot. So a lot of times that's how I'll start these. And they do really well that way. But eventually, I've come to the conclusion when they get this size, they're going to be better off in a clay pot, or we use cement pots here, but I don't think those are available on the mainland. And I'm really not going to be able to get any media. I mean, this is it. The good news is I don't have to do anything else other than get it into its pot. So we'll show you that for a sec. So you can see it loved this, and we've kind of had this ongoing discussion on the Friends of Orchid Alley. And we're talking about different media for these, but this is why I like these. Those roots were on there and very happy. And the clay breathes, and it keeps moisture in there. So I'm temporarily putting them back there, and I'm going to show you guys. Aloha, Sarah. Thank you. Got a little bit of debris in here from, so I'm going to wash this out again. So, clay pot, and the only thing, I wish this had holes, but you can't get them with holes. Anybody ever have a good source for those that would wholesale those? I'd love to know. But I'm going to do a trick. I'm going to, what I don't want to do is drop this all the way down to the bottom and have, one, it would probably smash the new lead. Two, gets no air circulation. So what I want is, I want it to sit up here like this. And I'm going to put the old part of the plant against the rim of the pot. And then I'm going to use these as spacers. So I'm going to set the plant on that. And that way, it's not dropping all the way into the bottom of it. And if those are not tall enough, and that works pretty good, yeah, that'll work. It wouldn't bother me if it was sitting right up a hair higher, and I may adjust that. Maybe go to this size pot. Let's see, maybe they're too good. And what'll happen is these roots will fill up that whole void in there. Yeah, I like that better. So we're a little bit higher here. And so what I don't want to do is have these have to work their way over. I don't want these hitting the side of that. So I'm going to use one of these as a spacer on this side. And I know you guys are saying, well, where's the media? When's he going to put the media in? What kind of media is he going to use? I'm done. I'm not going to use any media. Those pots down there are only spacers. I'm going to let this fill up with air, and the roots are going to grab this and they're going to go all over it. So with my growing conditions here, and the clay pot's holding water, this is actually heavy. I'm holding about 10 pounds here. And when it fills up with water, it's going to probably be 12 or 13 pounds. This thing gets heavy, but it'll grow right into that. So I have space on this side for the new growth, little space on this side for the second new growth, and it's going to grow into that. If you wanted to put something in there, you could use peanuts or rock, but you don't want to use bark or anything that's going to decompose, because I don't think I'll ever be able to get it out of this next pot. They get that big and they hold on that tight. So I'm looking at it, this is my last chance to get it the way I want it in a pot. I may have to break this next time to get it in if I want to repot it, or often people will just put the clay pot in a bigger clay pot and call it good. So it's that easy, but I'm actually done with this. So this is a Phaley Sunshine, and they do get big, but they're way cool. So I'm going to put this guy down. Well, one of the nice things is you don't have to put a bunch of media in there. Now, if you live in a dry area, California, you may want to add, I think like those lava, what do they call the little lava pebbles? Yeah, well, peanuts, there's two kinds of peanuts. One is, one that looks more like a peanut. They work pretty good because they just create air. And the other one actually holds water and decomposes. So you want to make sure, test your peanut first and make sure it doesn't start to melt down. Rock works great. The only thing I don't like about rock is you're adding weight to something that's already heavy. So if you want to take that to a show, the rock is good because it makes it a little more stable in case there's a breeze, but it's also heavy to carry. Leica, that was it. Yes, thank you, Renee. So I think Leica would work really good in there if you want to fill it up. But in about 6 months, that'll all be filled up with roots, so you won't even know that there's a void in there. So it's up to you guys. And this, in my growing conditions, because I have more water, although these I put up in the other greenhouse, they get watered every other day. So they don't get, when they're in a clay pot like that, they don't get the same water as if I'm hanging them up here. So that was my recommendation for those guys. The other thing we wanted to talk about was some vanda culture, and I'll give you a look at this guy. So these are vandas. I love my vandas, and I gotta twist this guy up here. So with these kind of vandas, now this guy's going to go to a show, and we do sell vandas. I'll show you some smaller ones here in a minute. we have our show in a week and a half, and I'll probably do a live from there. But as long as this stays like this and doesn't start to lose its lose flowers, this will probably win a ribbon for sure. So the question was, use something or not. If you think you need extra water in it, yeah, just use those pebbles. Just make sure. I wouldn't use bark because it will decompose and you'll never get it back out again. So it'll grow great like for 2 years, and then eventually you'll start getting rot. So yeah, so we're back talking about the grammatophyllum for a minute. So and it's hard to say. I mean, I can give you guidelines, but everybody's conditions are different. So if you try it with nothing and you find it's drying out, then you can always add the Leica, or if it feels like it's too wet, you can pull it out. Those roots will take, 6 months to really latch onto that, so it won't. You've got some time to adjust. Yeah, I know. I've been doing so many funky typing things recently. So this one is Dongcha Pusava. So this is obviously from Thailand, and a lot of the stuff we have is from Thailand. We went there and brought about 100 flasks back in 2007, and a lot of that stuff's just blooming now. I don't remember if that was one or not, but this is one I got more recently. And I'm getting gotta plug in and get some power going on this thing before our battery goes out. Okay, so I'll walk around and we'll discuss stuff. Just had a baby gecko pop out today. Oi! Why are the tips, Arthur, aloha, why are the tips of the leaves lighter color on the Vandas? They're getting more exposure to the sun. They'll brown there first. We have these up in the greenhouse rafters, so they definitely will get more light up there. But I think that's pretty typical. Okay, let's walk around for a minute here. So where I'm growing these, you'll see that these I grow in baskets. And when I went to Thailand, and I think we went twice, 2005 and 2007, everybody grows a lot of Vandas here, but everybody grew them in cement pots and clay pots. And when we went to Thailand, we noticed everything was hanging, and a light bulb went off, and it's like, well, that's pretty close to how they grow in nature, hanging off of trees. So if you see something like this in nature, it won't have other orchids hanging off of it, but you might see something kind of like that. I'll just grab one. You'll see these roots are growing down everywhere. So it's kind of humid, but where we're at, I'm trying to recreate Thailand here. And so it's humid. You see the water down there, and you see the evaporation. Now, today's humid anyways. But we're growing these with no media, or a lot of times I'll put in a couple chunks of bark. But again, it kind of rots. But if I ship these out, I'll probably put some sphagnum in them for you guys, so they don't dry out too much. But you may want to take these and then transplant them into a cement pot or a clay pot. So what I was just showing you over here with the grammatophyllum would work great. I could put this guy in that pot if I wet the roots, and and I may even do a live on that sometime to show you guys. Then you can grow them in there, and then they don't need as much water. So if you're in Southern California, you would not want to try to grow this like this. There's no way you could get enough humidity in the air unless you had a misting system going on it all the time. So you have to change how you grow it and put them in clay pots, or you'd have to maybe fill this up with sphagnum. I also know of another good way of growing them. You can grow them in wood baskets, and they hold humidity and moisture. And somewhere over here, I had a couple experiments growing in coconut fiber. And the coconut fiber in a wood basket would be a good way to grow it. So you probably only have to water maybe every other day or only once a day. Right now out here like this, they're getting watered twice a day. Now it is summer, and I don't see where my experiment one went, but it was doing well. So I think the coconut fiber would be a good way to grow them. Aloha, Sylvia. Okay, so I want to check out some comments here. Barbara, I have it over a month. Okay, I think they were commenting with each other. Okay, so the humidity here, I guess it's probably normally 70%. Today it feels like 90. It's about ready to rain. And in Thailand, where these are mostly from, it is in the 90s, and it's 90 degrees and 90% humidity. And so that's the conditions you want to mimic. And I can come close, but they actually have longer days there since they're by the equator. So I can't totally mimic it, but you won't have a chance in California. And that's why instead of trying to grow them in a basket like that, put them in a clay pot, get your Leica media, get something that doesn't break down too much. To get extra humidity, use 2 clay pots, one inside the other, and that keeps this outer pot will keep this much more wet. And if that's not enough, put 3 together. So there are ways to do it, but you do have to adjust a little bit. So the ones with the baskets are going to be tough. Florida people, you got it okay, but and people in the South, you got it okay. But Southwest and the rest of the country, Vandas are going to be tricky until you get them into clay pots or cement pots. I'm going to walk around and see if I can see a cement pot somewhere. And we have, just so you guys know, we have Pachar Delight, which is kind of like that purple one. And we don't sell these cheap. They're usually 55 blooming. And that's all of these guys here. We have other types of Vandas, all, you name it. If there's anything you want or a color you want, let me know. I have thousands of Vandas. And I usually take them down to the shop and they sell like boom, boom, boom. So here's a big one up here. And it's probably not fair to tempt a lot of you guys right before our show because some of these big nice guys. So this is, whoa, Renu Gold by Kamal Plan, I think. And I was going to say, it looked like Renee Gold for a minute there, but it's Renu. But they do really well here. But I kind of mimic Thailand. But you don't have to. All you have to do is get them in big cement pots and clay pots. Bianca, I guess one benefit of the humidity, I would say the same for mosquitoes. Yeah, it does create mosquitoes. Would a clay pot be better here in Alabama? Shirley's asking that question. You could probably grow them either way. I think it'd be better in the winter because you're going to have to bring it in, and then you're heating, and then it dries it out. So I think would probably be better. I think it's a struggle unless you have a controlled greenhouse, I guess. Bianca's in Georgia. It's pretty humid, but even over winter, they do well in the baskets. Just never thought to try a pot. Well, okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. So Bianca's in a humid area, and she's having success with them even in the winter. So okay, let me see. I got to get caught up on some comments here. I've been misting mine every other day. Yeah. That sounds good. Although misting every other day isn't enough, probably. These are getting twice a day. And they didn't really need it today because it's so humid. When it's really humid, you can see they'll pull in a lot of moisture right out of the roots. So, like this guy. You can see his roots, the root tips. That's what you're looking for, these big root tips. And there's really no media in there. If there's a piece of bark, maybe. So, in a humid environment, and it's also humid here, and it's also the water gets on the ground, and we have, especially if you have gravel or something like that, or you have water around, you get evaporation all the time. So, it stays pretty. It stays pretty humid. So I think any of you in Florida, Georgia, Alabama, you'd be okay with the pots, with the baskets. Best media for phals. That I would say would either be sphagnum or bark. I can show you some of those when we get back to the other side. We're kind of in the Vanda section right now. Would the clay pot be better here in Alabama? Yeah, maybe, but maybe not. Try one each way, and then you can see what does better. Yeah, so I'll answer the phal questions when we get back over on the other side. So this is kind of mainly Vandas and Grammatophyllum, Bulbophyllum over here, and this is vanilla. You can see some vanilla pods. And we've got Phragmipedium over here. And the common thing with all of these orchids is they like humidity. So that's the thing. People think temperature and light and media, and that's all kind of important. But keeping it humid, keeping them hydrated, that's the real trick. So, don't get your heart sets on any of these, but this is speciosum here. And I'm trying to get a flask of this so that I will have this available for you guys. But I do have a couple of these. These are the biggest orchids in the world. Those are Grammatophyllum speciosum. And they get the biggest. But this is all Vanda down here, and there was something I wanted to show you now. I forgot what it was. And we might even see a pearl anthurium on the way. I can show you that one too. So these are frags back in here. And here's another Vanda. So this one's really happy. Now this guy, you can see because it's starting to grow some algae and stuff in here, the media is breaking down. So this one needs repotting. And when you can crack the bark like that, it needs repotting. And I probably will just pull this out of here, and if I put anything in there, it'll only be a piece or two. But a good sign, a good way to tell if your media needs repotting on any orchid, but with the Vandas, is if it's growing algae and ferns in it, then it's breaking down, it's turning acidic, and you want to see the way it's waters. I can squeeze it right out of the bark like that. You don't want that. So this guy, even though he's still happy, he's blooming, I'm going to take all that media out of there that's acting like a sponge. So it wants water, but it doesn't want to be in standing water, and this is like standing water. So that's definitely something to keep in mind with your baskets. And this thing has probably been in the same bark media for 5 or 6 years. You can easily get 2 years when they're hanging like this, and 3 probably, but you get into 4 or 5 years and you got to repot the media, which is a lot of work with this many vandas. So that's why I'm kind of liking growing them without media, because they may grow a hair slower in the beginning, but you don't have to do that repotting. So let's see, we got graveolens. And we do have these Collagenea, the Panduratas. They just finished bloom. I think there's a new spike coming on some of these. Oh, here's the Trichoglottis brachiata. That's going to open up soon. I think Alabama is similar to Georgia. Yeah, I think so too. I think you'd be okay. So these guys are going gangbusters, and I just noticed this Mimiensis here. So I'm having some battery issues here. So if we lose each other, that's what happened here. It says low battery, and I thought I had a charger going on this, but I can't tell. It doesn't tell me if it's actually charging or not. So if we lose each other, then that's kind of what happened. But let me show you some other plants for sale that you guys might be interested in. So we have Brassia Memoria Edbaloo Nishida. We have divisions of these, and these are 35 in spike. So if anybody wants one, let me know. If you're getting shipping this week here, then I need to probably know tonight and get the invoice. I can add it to an invoice even if you've already paid, and it'll just update when we repay. So we have the Brassia Rex, or not the rest, the Brassia Christine. I'm sorry, Brassia Edbaloo, Brassia Christine. A few of you guys are getting these already. Aloha, Janet. And we have this beautiful guy, Cymbidium dianums. These are species Cymbidium, so these are Chinese, and that means they're warm growing. So you can grow these in Alabama. These are not the ones you think of that grow in California so well, and in Seattle and places like that. So these are, they call them Chinese Cymbidiums, and they have beautiful flowers. And I have these are 35, and they hang pendant, and I'll pot them, they'll be potted up for you. So if you guys are interested in those, let me know. The Brassias are 35. Balo. So we have the Christine, and this one was the Edbaloo. But I thought you might have got one already. We'll check and see. But they're beautiful plants, and they also have a nice fragrance. It's kind of a licoricey kind of fragrance. And what I did want to show you down there, so this is the Dianum, and yeah, this is all Dianum. But they make a nice spike, and they're gonna be. We can ship them now in spike, which is good. I wanted to show you the Finlaysonianum, which was down here. That's what I was thinking of. So the last one I showed you, Cecile, that was the little one that had the candy stripes, and that's the Cymbidium. Yeah, so down here, this is Finlaysonianum, and this thing is way cool. Now, this was a bigger plant, and I just took a sawzall and quartered it because it's a big plant. But this will drop about 3 to 4 feet down towards the ground. And this is another one of those Chinese cymbidiums, warm-growing cymbidiums, so you don't have to worry about the temperature drops to get them to spike like the California ones. And these are 35 as well. These are pretty big plants, and they make cool specimens. So we have that one as well. Very, very cute. Nice little rabbit ear kind of things on these guys. And there's another type I have that I may do a live on covering more of these because they're really cool, and they're not seen around too often. So that was Cymbidium Finlaysonianum. Basically, with those cymbidium, these Chinese cymbidiums, these are species. So they are what they are. So this is Finlaysonianum. This is the species. So if you went to China, wherever this is found in nature, this is exactly what you'd see. So it's not like the cymbidiums where you see in California where they bred them and hybridized them. Yeah, this is a species, and so is that other one. Dionum's a species too. So I may try to breed the two together and see what we get, but they're cool plants, and those you'd want to hang in a basket. So they would come in a basket hung. I haven't put that one in one yet, but that would come in a hanging basket. Okay, Mary Beth, no problem. I'll need to get your email. So if you PM me, Neil Sams, and send me your email, and then I'll get all your contact information. So Cecile, this was the one we were talking about, right? And this is that cymbidium, and these, I love the coloring on this, that striping. The other one's got that orange, kind of the tropical sunset kind of a coloring. This one is got all these cool candy stripes. Oh no, the brassica, okay. So this one was the Christine, and this one has the elongated lip. And this one is the Ed Valou. So there's two different kinds of these. They're the same price, and they're both cool. So you can PM me that one, or this one right here. Okay, you got it. We got you on that. Now we do have smaller plants of these too available. I think they're generally 45 if it's not spiking. How tall do the brassias get? These are pretty much, that's about as tall as they get. They'll get bushier. This is a better example of a specimen brassia. So this one's thrown 5 spikes, and it kind of branches out, so they get wider. But that's full height there. So this one's about 2.5 feet tall, 3 foot. This one's 3 foot easy, but that one's exceptionally tall. This is more common, about 2.5 feet. So they're decent size, but not huge. And I grow them pretty bright light. I put them up there with the Vandas. Yeah, I look up there and I see other vandas in bud, and I get excited. So I just get distracted. Oh, this is pretty cool. So this one, this is Trigonodium. We repotted this one the other day, and we have these in bud too, and they're only $20. It's a species. So you guys might be interested in these because you'll get them, and as soon as they get there, they'll flower. And they're $20, and they're this size, so they'll be one of those guys right there. You can see they're just ready to pop. And it's Trigonodium, so Trigonodium. We didn't look over here, but we have these guys at $30, and they're beautiful. Aloha, Lori. We have the bulbophyllum packages here. That's with lepidum going. You sure can, Shirley. And then that's maxillaria, and those, some of those are popping. We have over here our Auricitolium, and I think that was $29. And we have these guys, which are really cool. I thought I had some. I know I've got some open over on the other side. I'll show you those when they're the open ones. Good little experiment here. I took a Schomburgkia pseudobulb and used it as a mount. Yeah, Shirley, you got the $20, you got it. Yes, I know. Isn't that cool? The anticipation when one of these finally throws the spike, and it's almost as much as when you see them open, because you do wait forever to see the spike. So over here we have all kinds of little babies, dendrochilums, maxillaria, more dendrochilum, a little bit of Vandaceous. So if you like little stuff, let me know. We've got, looks like Cobianum starting to go. So we've got some stuff spiking soon. So next week we might have more stuff to talk about along that line. We have these pitcher plants, which are just gorgeous. This is the trumpet pitcher. And these actually catch little flies and goodies. And the more traditional, these are all 25, the more traditional looking pitcher plant. And this one, they stick to it somehow, so I gotta see if there's any dead bugs on those, because that's what they're supposed to be doing. And Sarcochilus. And we have all kinds of Phalaenopsis too. These are all the latest from Holland. We're going to take these to the Orchid Club and up-pot those in a couple days, but these are available. These would be like $15. These are all latest hybrids, so just PM me if you're interested in those from Holland at that size, which they'll bloom next year. And then we have some that are blooming now that I can show you. We have bulbophyllums, and everybody who doesn't know, we have on our website, we have a list. This guy just finished up, he's cool. We have a list of orchids for sale, and you go to www.orchidalleyKauai.com, and on the front page in the lower right, in small tiny print, you'll see something that says orchids for sale or orchid list, and it has prices on there. And then you can PM me at Neil Sams, and I will get back to you, and we can sell orchids that way. We're in the bulbophyllum land here. This is Sobralia. Sarah just got this one, and those put out flowers all the time. Only last a few days, but they flower, flower, flower. And we have echinolabium, little ones. Can I see the panda rod I am selling? Okay. I thought you had one in your box. You've got an open box, I think. If I remember right, Michelle, I think you might have had one in your box. But I will show you guys those. And I'll work my way over to the phals in just a sec here. So you get divisions off of these. So this one just finished flowering, that one just finished flowering, but that one, or we can divide off of this one. And that's Mimiense there. We sell that too, so if anybody's interested in, that's a dendrobium. What flowers all the time? That's the Sobralia, and the Sobralia we're over here in the Silogeny, the Ponderata section. So, Michelle, this is, I might pull the division off of this. This one's looking real happy here. These things basically, I had them on some mounts, and then they started crawling up on the bench, and they completely took my bench over. So I'm doing divisions to reclaim bench space. They're $30 for the Panderatas, and they're going to be a division, probably in a plastic pot or something like that. But it might just be like one of this one here. You can see it. It might be I cut this here, or cut that one. There's a lot of good choices there. So if you're interested, they're 30. You want that one? Okay, you got it. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Unfortunately, they aren't all in the same place here. Another thing to keep in mind that I think are pretty cool are these chandelier bromeliads. And we can do cuttings of those for 20. So they kind of make kind of a real cool. We have a couple different kinds of those, but that one has that tiger striping. And they just kind of branch out and they look like chandeliers. Okay, so we're going to head down here. We have these guys here available for 25. That was the Dendrobium linguala. Last chance cymbidiums. This is the Dianum, the species. We'll go one other area. These are the Bulbophyllum, the specials. And the Sobralia is right over here. So this is a bigger plant of the Sobralia, but this is one that Sarah just got. And these are 25. And they grow quick. So this will get sizable like that maybe within a year. And they flower at least every other week. So they just go. So the Sobralia is for sale. These are 25 at this size here. There's another one there. There's a few of those here. So we got plenty of those. And then we have echinolabium babies. Or not babies, but they're near blooming size. And they're 45. We are getting low on these. And we have Wilbur Changs, which look virtually identical to this, that are 45. And we have Dearei and Dearei Matte. That's Dearei. Carunculatum. Those are all on the list that you can look them up, and they're on the list there. And I'm just hoping my battery is actually charging. It's weird, my phone doesn't show the little battery symbol, and so I have a charger plugged into it, but I can't tell if it's actually charging or not. So if I drop out, you know what happened. So back into the grammatophyllum world, and this is where the Phalaenopsis are. So we were talking about some of the Phalaenopsis. So these are the latest Dutch hybrids, and we sell them $27 each, or 4 for $100. I'm loving this one. And the Dutch breed for compact growing, multi-spikes, multi-branching. Yeah, so Anita, if you want one of those Sobralias, you can PM, private message me at Neil Sams, and then I'll contact you back and set up an estimate for you and give you all the shipping information. But these are really pretty, and then you can see how they breed for the branching too. So all these whites, one plant here has all these 3 different branches going 3 different ways, and all of them are at least 2 spikes. I like this. I like that one too, but the gold one here, my wife likes this one. Real pretty. So you can mix and match these. So you can, for $100, you can pick 4 of these, or actually all 5 of those for $125 if you want to do it that way. We have a sweet sugar going off here. We have this guy, which is cool, Infunculabatum or whatever. That's a species, and it's got a real pretty flower. And I think that was $29. Then we have these guys at $29, the Lava Burst Puananis. And those are red. Those will be really nice next week. Best pots for phals, I like the white, the clear pots. So I like these because you get all these root growth and you can see what you're doing. You can see they're happy, and so that's what I prefer. So a clear pot, I think, is much better. It lets the sun get in. The roots actually do photosynthesis as well. Now what you're looking at here are the latest Taiwanese hybrids of Phalaenopsis. And we're running a special on these 2. This is $30 each. These are bigger and taller, or 4 for $110. And you can mix and match these. So just let me know. You can see the, other than this one, which is smaller, and this is a Taiwanese hybrid, they go for size, flatness, color. So these are over 30 inches tall, and these are usually about 2 feet. Well, these come, you know, the pots have holes in them, so and I have thousands of plants, so I'm not going to give one plant any special attention, but these have a lot of holes in them, so in the bottom, so they get great drainage. So you could punch holes in them,